I wanted to express our condolences to the family and friends of Mike Sands from Fox 40 in Jackson, who passed away this Saturday. So certainly the Mississippi State football program, has him on our mind right now. So we want to start off with that. Obviously disappointed with the outcome of the game. Thought we had a solid week of practice. Thought the kids played hard, but didn't perform well enough against a quality SEC opponent to win the game. To me, it goes back to the performance indicators that we talk about all the time. From an explosive play standpoint, it was a push. We had 12 6-run, 6-pass, and they had 12 6-run, 6-pass. So that was even. The biggest thing in the game to me was the turnover margin. We gave it away 3 times and didn't get any, so we were -3 in the turnover battle. -6 the last 2 weeks, and I think -7 over the last 3. So it's going to be very tough to win a lot of games when you're turning it over and not creating very many turnovers. Red zone battle. We were 4 for 4 in the red zone with 3 touchdowns. They were 6 for 6 with 6 touchdowns, so we were -2 there. And then 3rd and 4th down conversion percentage, we were 6 of 13, and they were 8 of 11. So we needed to get off the field there. So obviously when those things aren't stacked in your favor and you're not winning those categories, it's going to be tough to win the game. So needed to get better there, and we'll continue to work and continue to improve. From a student athlete of the week, Brandon Cunningham and then Fred Peters were chosen this week. From an injury standpoint, I'm just going to go with the questionable guys and out guys, not the probables. On offense, Stuart Reese, questionable with a lower body. On defense, Mo Smitherman, who I told you was out for the season, had his surgery this morning with a lower body. Fletcher Adams will be out for the remainder of the season. He had surgery this morning with a lower body. Aaron Brule, questionable with a lower body. Cam Dantzler, questionable with an upper body. James Jackson, questionable with a lower body. Jarion Jones, out with an upper body. C.J. Morgan, questionable with an upper body. And then Nathan Pickering, questionable with an upper body as well. Moving on to Arkansas, obviously led by Chad Morris. Innovative offensive mind, second-year leading the Arkansas program, former AFCA National Assistant Coach of the Year and National Coordinator of the Year. The offense is led by Joe Craddock. He's a quarterback's coach, spread offense with a lot of tempo. I think they played 3 quarterbacks throughout the season, Starkle, Hicks, and then Jones came in at the end of the Alabama game, went 6 for 7, led them to a touchdown drive. The running back, Rakeem Boyd, is the best guy in terms of the run game, and then the tight end, O'Grady, has done a really, really nice job for them in the run game and the pass game. He's a good threat there. John Chavis, the veteran defensive coordinator, based with 4 down, they get into some 3 and 4 down looks as well, play a mixture of 2 high zone and man-to-man coverage. The defensive line, number 53, he's a guy that really excels. Number 1, Dejon Harris. He's a 3-time All-SEC linebacker, and on the back end, number 2, Cameron Curl. Barry Lundy's a special teams coordinator, and they kind of mix it up and keep it simple, but try to get their playmakers in space. And then going back to the offense, they have 2 true freshman receivers, Traylon Burks and Traylon Burks. And I know the number, not the name. They're the 2 highest, 2 of the highest rated true freshman receiver combinations in the country. So had a good day on Sunday. Kids worked really hard. Excited to put the game plan together today, and we're going to need to keep it sharp, keep it tight. Have a great week of practice and take the field and move forward to get SEC win number 2 and overall win number 4. Any questions?
Questions? We're going to Mike T. We'll start with Steve.
Coach, looking at depth at cornerback with Jerrion's condition there, how do you plan to manage that?
Just gonna have to work. This is part of the season where, it's the tail end of it. You're going into game 9, and then everyone in the country's dealing with injuries, and we've been beset by quite a few. But we have a next man in mentality. The person who goes in is going to do as good or better of a job. And Corey Charles, some of those other young guys, they're going to have to come in and play a role.
Coach Garrett, that was basically my question.
Oh.
Coach Colin Hill kind of had a return to form this past weekend, like he was running angry again. What did you see from him when you had a chance to reevaluate your tape?
Yeah, first and foremost, I thought the offensive line did a good job being physical up front and getting a push, creating some movement, some horizontal and vertical schemes in the defense. And I thought Colin, sometimes, talented runners like him, they want to create something maybe and be a little bit more patient instead of just what he did. He's got downhill, got behind his pads, ran with a lot more physicality, and honestly had a very good week of practice. Was very positive, worked very hard, and what doesn't show up on the stat sheet is his pass protection was a lot better as well. So it was a good bounce back game for Colin.
Logan?
Joe, the offense the last 4 weeks has only had 6 points in the first quarter. Have you ever had a stretch like that where the offense has been so slow out of the gate, and what do you do to kind of correct that?
Yeah, I'd have to look back. One of the things we charted is first drive score. I think we hit that maybe 3 times early on and haven't had it since. And kind of put a early game script together of plays where you're trying some different things and different formations to kind of see what they're in. But I can't say that I recall that happening. But it's making sure we're making the right calls, and when we do, making sure the kids are executing.
Joe, you talked about it a little bit post game, but with Garrett struggling in that first half, what did you see maybe from him the first half that maybe stuck out, and in the second half, what stuck out about maybe getting him going a little bit better?
Yeah, I don't think he was necessarily pressing it, but some of it was accuracy issues, some of it was reads, some of it was protection on the third down stuff. And I think we got in and kind of made some adjustments and just some things that were right in his face, some things that were more progression oriented and maybe full field oriented, and I was able to get his feet underneath him and set in the pocket. And I thought he bounced back nicely in the second half.
Tyler and Paul?
Given where you guys are in the standings, where Arkansas is in the standings, how desperate do you think both teams will be, and how does that change kind of the scope of the week and then leading into the game especially?
No, I don't think there's desperation by necessarily any means. I think, we're certainly focusing all of our concentration and all of our efforts and practice preparation to make sure we're doing everything necessary to go out and perform and play well this week and get a win this week.
Coach, obviously injuries have played a role on the defensive side of the ball, but when you look at that film from the A&M game in the previous week, what things do you see that are fixable that need the most attention to fix on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think outside the explosive plays, we really didn't get off the field on kind of the third and medium downs, 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, and brought some pressures and had some guys, free to the quarterback, and they were either a step slow and didn't get in his face or knock the ball down or knock the quarterback down. And, they had some very talented receivers that were able to create some separation, either, inside when we were outside leverage or outside when we were inside leverage, and then just some of the tackling at the end of it. So I'd say those are the things that, from the game require the most attention.
Logan and Steve?
Before the game on Saturday, y'all did the circle drill. I don't know that I've ever seen that at this level.
Yeah.
What kind of brought that on? Whose decision was that? And what made you decide to do that?
Yeah, I've seen that through 21 years, seen some other people do it. I remember Al Golden used to do it at Temple, Miami, and some other people. But just talking with the captains and leadership council, I told you we meet every Sunday night, and just some other things to talk about, playing with energy, playing with emotion, getting the guys fired up. They didn't think that was they thought it was a good idea to just have 3 guys, and not necessarily Oklahoma, but it was more of a straight on, I guess people call it a board drill, where you let them fire off and let the guys drive and blow the whistle. So kids liked it; they were fired up about it.
Coach, last 2 weeks we've seen Isaiah Zuber kind of emerge as a playmaker in the offense. What do you kind of attribute his recent ascent to?
I think opportunities, and I think practice preparation. Michael's done a real nice job with him, and his flexibility, from this past game, with the 2 touchdowns, he caught one at the X position and one at the slot position. So he's a guy that, like we talked about early on, can do things as an inside and outside receiver, and he's doing a good job creating separation and making plays on closely contested balls. So he'll continue to improve throughout the season.
Joe, I know talking to Jaquarius after the game, and said that guys are just kind of tired of losing at this point, but with sort of the way the schedule breaks down, I know you're still looking just 1 week ahead, but with the way it shakes out, with some games ahead of you that seem winnable, at least on paper, I mean, does that give guys some confidence even when you go through a losing streak, at least just knowing there's opportunities ahead?
Yeah, I think that's, all of us players, coaches, everyone in the program, when you make the decision, come to the SEC and the SEC West, you understand it's going to be, small margin of error and the best brand of college football in the country. So, we have a tough schedule. I think I saw one place where it was rated, 3rd toughest in the country. And you have some teams that we played early on playing well, but we can't look past anything than what we're going to do at practice tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, then on Thursday, and on Friday, and playing with great effort and executing well. So I don't think you say maybe there's a cumulative effect that it wears on the kids because they're young, psychologically a little bit, but they, this day and age with technology and phones and things like that, they have short memories. So we put it to bed on Sunday and we moved on to Arkansas.
Ball security's been a bit of an issue. I mean, obviously 3 turnovers Saturday, one of those a little bit questionable, but how do you how can you correct that mid-season? How do you kind of rep that out to kind of protect the football a little bit better?
Yeah, well, one with the quarterbacks and the interceptions, that comes down to decision making and accuracy and knowing when, it's better to take a sack or throw it away than try to throw it in an ill-advised spot. And then from a fumble standpoint, I mean, we do ball security circuit at a minimum of once a week and usually twice a week. So, it's just about habits, keeping the ball high and tight, not letting it get away from your body. So that is something that we drill every week in practice, and obviously need to, continue to do a better job with it.
David?
Some of the short kickoffs on Saturdays, were those called or just mishits by the kicker, or what's the strategy on the either kicking long or kicking short?
They were all deep left. 2 of them were mishit. 2 of them, I think, were into a bit of a wind. That's why in the second half we decided to not squib kick it, but kind of drive it on the ground to keep it underneath the wind. But yeah, no, we certainly weren't trying to pop those things up high and have them catch it on the 15. Those 2 of them were mishits.
After the Kentucky game, there was obviously that big display of emotion by you in the locker room.
Yeah.
Just wondering, like, how long ago does that feel? Like, the course of an SEC season, you talk about, there being highs and lows. There's been more lows of recently. Just how long ago does that feel? And how, I don't want to say desperate again, but, how, are you guys looking for a moment like that to kind of rewrite some of the wrongs of the past?
Yeah, I think, regardless of the team, regardless of the situation, there's going to be highs and lows in any college football season. And it doesn't seem that long ago. It was great to get that SEC win and particularly do it at home. But you can't look in the rearview mirror. You got to look through the front windshield and see what's ahead of you. And I know our kids are focused on everything that we need to do this week to be ready to beat Arkansas.
Anything else? All right, thank you.